My name is Carter Talby, and I created a short presentation about how to catch bluegill in Crooked Lake in Whitley County. So these are all the common sunfish in Crooked Lake according to a 2002 survey performed by Jed Pearson, a fisheries biologist. This is a green sunfish. Below we have a pumpkin seed. Right here is a warmouth, a red ear sunfish, and a black crappie. Finally, the bluegill. So, in order to catch bluegill, you got to find out where they live. Now, bluegill, like most every other fish, like to hang out in a spot where they can find food and avoid being food. They live in natural cover like fallen trees and weed beds, but they also are found underneath docks and boat lifts. They also like structure. So a part of structure is just geological things like points, drop-offs, underwater islands, stuff like that, where there can be vegetation that grows that's deeper than by, let's just say, the shore. The final thing that a lot of people don't consider is the thermocline. Now you can see this beautiful graph I made here. The thermocline in Crooked Lake starts at around 15 feet and ends at around 20 feet. And then below 20 feet, there really aren't any fish present. There's just a lot of dead material, detritus, stuff that floats on the bottom, like plant material. And then you have this turbulent water where the cold water is coming up, mixing with the hot water. And then right above that, you have the peak spot where there's going to be weeds, there's going to be fish, and there's going to be bluegill. So, where to find these fish in Crooked Lake? You can see I got you fishing by the boat ramp. I've seen bluegill up there underneath the little dock they have to the left of the boat ramp when you're looking from the lake. There's a little sunken island right there that I got you posted up on. Right here is a point where there's some deeper water next to some shallow water where I feel like you can find bluegill. Another non-sunken island, sorry. And then right here is another point where there's shallow water, and I got you posted up right there. Alright, so if you're worried about catching bluegill ethically, then you should always fish with a crushed barb so that you can easily just take the hook out and put the fish back in the water if you don't want to keep it. Let's say you catch one of those undesirables like I mentioned previously. You always want to have a pair of pliers in case your fish swallows the hook, then you can remove it easily, release the fish, or keep the fish and not cause harm. There are 3 different methods of fishing that I recommend for bluegill. The first would be trolling, where you cast out lines and then move your boat slowly along drop-offs in weed beds and like the edges of weeds, and you search for bluegill that way, and you're going to be fishing like little, probably crankbaits or spoons. You can look it up on YouTube. There are plenty of videos about how to troll. Slip bobbers are just a bobber that has a line and then there's a knot on it so that when you cast it, the bobber can slide freely on the line, and you can have that knot 10 to 15 feet back on your line, spooled up in your reel, so that when it goes out, the bobber comes up and hits it, and it floats it at 15 feet where you want that thing to be. And lastly, it's fly fishing. Fly fishing is my favorite type of fishing. See, I got my fly rod here. I tie all my own flies. I started getting into this about a year and a half ago. It's a great time. It's a bigger fly there that I tied, for pike actually. And what it does is it uses this weighted line here. Sorry. This weighted green line actually gets thrown back and forth above you, and then this rod is real flexible, so it just builds up that momentum of that line, and you wing that out there, and you're able to cast really tiny little fly-like lures that you can hand tie. That's what I like to do. That's why I like it so much, because it's a difficult thing to do, but it's rewarding and it's fun. So in conclusion, you want to fish the slopes of change in depth and fish next to cover. So fish structure, fish cover, and just go out and fish. If you don't have a boat, go to the boat ramp, pick up a fly rod. It's like 60 bucks on Amazon. Get yourself like a 5-weight regular fly rod. And if you can't do that, go and soak warm by the boat ramp under a bobber. You'll catch bluegill. Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to email me.